My husband died keeping a secret, and the penthouse he forbid me to visit was where he hid it. I can still hear his voice, gentle but unmovable. Do not go to the penthouse, Evelyn. Promise me. For 23 years I kept that promise the way you keep vows you do not fully understand. Then, a heart attack took him on an ordinary Tuesday, and the next thing I knew I was sitting in our attorney's quiet office, while grief rearranged the furniture of my life. "There is one more item, Mrs. Hart," Mr. Lang said, sliding a slim black keycard across the desk, along with a sealed envelope in Daniel's unmistakable block letters. The address printed on the card made my breath snag. Glass Row Tower, 49th floor, the penthouse. I turned the keycard in my hand. Daniel never owned property outside our home. We were careful, comfortable, practical. And yet, "Your husband instructed me to disclose this only upon his passing," Mr. Lang continued. "The unit is paid in full. Association dues are settled for 5 years. He paused, studying my face. "He also suggested you go there before you make any decisions." Suggested. Not forbade. Even dead, he was changing the rules. I opened the envelope with fingers that would not stop trembling. "Ev, if you are reading this, then I ran out of time. The penthouse is safe. Go alone. On the marble console you will find a code. Use it. You deserve answers, not ghosts." Questions snapped open like umbrellas in a storm. Why a secret residence in a building Daniel pretended to despise? Why keep me away, then point me toward it from the grave? And why did the word safe read like a warning? I booked a car, packed nothing, and drove into the evening light that made Glass Row look like a blade stuck upright in the heart of the city. I swiped the keycard. The private elevator accepted me like a confession and began to climb. The elevator sighed open onto a hushed foyer, white marble underfoot, a wall of glass framing the city at dusk. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. This was not the sterile bachelor space I'd imagined. It was curated, intentional. Every surface chosen by someone who knew me too well. A single rose sat in a crystal vase on the console Daniel had mentioned. Beside it, an envelope marked with the same precise hand. Inside, a note and a slip of paper with 6 digits written in blue ink. "Ev, enter this into the study wall safe. What you find is yours now. I never meant to keep it from you forever, only until the right time. Forgive me." D. My pulse thrummed. Forgive him for what? For secrets? For dying before he explained them? I drifted further in, light spilling across polished wood and soft leather. On one wall, floor-to-ceiling shelves lined with books, mostly art and history, the things I loved, not him. In the dining alcove, a canvas I recognized instantly. My own painting from university, long lost during a move. Daniel had preserved it, hidden it here. This wasn't just his space, it was ours, refracted through his private lens. A shrine to a version of me I thought time had erased. I found the study at the end of a hallway, its door heavier than the rest. Inside, sleek and minimalist, except for the panel on the wall that concealed the safe. My hands shook as I pressed in the numbers. The mechanism clicked. The steel door swung open. Inside was no jewelry, no cash. Just a laptop, a thick blue folder, and a flash drive sealed in an evidence bag, and suddenly, I wasn't sure if I wanted the truth at all. The laptop was silver, sleek, and spotless. Not a trace of dust, as if someone had placed it there yesterday. My reflection trembled on its surface as I powered it on. The screen came alive immediately, no password, just a single folder waiting on the desktop. Labeled simply, "For Evelyn." I clicked. Dozens of video files populated the screen, each one stamped with a date. The first dated 2 weeks before Daniel's death. The last stretched almost a full year into the future. My heart stuttered. He had recorded messages, knowing his time was short, planning for me to find them here. I opened the first file. Daniel's face filled the screen. Healthy, strong, years younger than the tired version I had buried. He smiled that crooked smile I used to tease him about. Ev, if you're watching this, then I didn't make it. I know you're furious, and you should be. I kept things from you. But listen to me, I never lied. I only delayed. This penthouse is more than an apartment. It's the lockbox of my life. And what's inside, it could save you. Or destroy you. You'll have to decide. My breath caught. Save me. From what? I glanced at the flash drive still sealed in its plastic. The blue folder on the shelf. His words burrowed under my skin like splinters. The video continued. You'll hear from people, Ev. They'll come to you with papers, promises, threats. Don't trust them. Not yet. The truth is in this room. And it starts with the flash drive. But not alone. Never alone. If you open it, call Martin Lang. He knows more than he ever told you, Mr. Lang. Our lawyer. The man who had given me the key card. The video ended, leaving me staring at the frozen image of my husband, smiling like a man who knew he was about to detonate my life from beyond the grave. I broke the evidence seal with a snap that echoed in the silent room. The flash drive was small, black, unremarkable. Yet my hands shook as if it were a live wire. Sliding it into the laptop's port, a folder appeared instantly. Dozens of subfolders, each labeled in Daniel's neat, deliberate style. Contracts, photos, audio, names. Names. My stomach tightened. I clicked at random. A scanned document filled the screen, a property deed in his name. Not the penthouse. Another building. Then another. Multiple assets I had never heard of, all purchased in the last 3 years. The total staggered me. Daniel had been moving in shadows, building something I knew nothing about. The next folder, photos. I expected buildings, receipts. Instead, images of people appeared. Strangers. Men and women in business attire, candid shots taken on streets, in cafes, entering offices. Each file tagged with dates, locations, surveillance. My husband had been watching people. I clicked audio. A hiss of static, then Daniel's voice, low and urgent. Evidence of embezzlement is clear. Transfers to offshore accounts linked to... The file cut off abruptly. My breath hitched. What had he been investigating? Finally, I clicked names. A list scrolled down the screen, 20, maybe 30 individuals. Some I recognized from the photos. Others carried weight I hadn't expected. A senator. A CEO. A banker whose face was constantly on the news. All connected somehow, all linked to my husband. The final folder sat apart, unlabeled, as if daring me. I hovered, pulse hammering, but before I could open it, a sound shattered the silence, the distinct crunch of tires on gravel below. I froze. This was the 49th floor. No one should be arriving here. Yet headlights flared against the glass, sharp and deliberate. Someone else had come to the penthouse. I snapped the laptop shut and killed the lights, plunging the study into darkness. My heart beat so hard it hurt. From the floor-to-ceiling windows, I saw the glare of headlights sweep across the street below, then vanish into the underground garage reserved for penthouse access only. No one else should have that clearance. Footsteps echoed faintly through the ventilation shaft, magnified in the silence. I gripped the blue folder from the safe, shoving it under my arm, and slipped toward the hallway. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, but the elevator was out of reach. And if they'd come up through the garage, they already knew where they were going. The front door handle rattled. A pause. Then a deliberate knock. Mrs. Hart. The voice was male, sharp. Canadian vowels clipping each syllable. We need to talk. I didn't answer. Another voice joined in, calmer, almost coaxing. You've opened the safe by now. You've seen what he left. We can make this easy, Evelyn, or very hard. They knew my name. They knew the safe. I backed deeper into the penthouse, my mind racing. Daniel's warnings from the video resurfaced. They'll come to you with papers, promises, threats. Don't trust them. The knock became pounding. Mrs. Hart, open the door. This doesn't have to end badly. I stumbled into the great room, eyes darting for exits. The rose still sat on the console by the window, a ridiculous detail out of place amid the fear. Then a sudden silence. No voices, no pounding, just the whisper of the city outside. I almost relaxed, until the soft hiss of the study door behind me betrayed the truth. They weren't waiting at the front anymore. They were already inside. Two men stepped from the shadows of the study, their silhouettes sharp against the faint glow from the windows. Both tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in dark suits that screamed business, but not civility. The older one, silver hair cropped close, jaw like carved stone, spoke first. Evelyn Hart. His tone carried ownership, as though saying my name made me his. I'm Robert Hale. This is my associate David. You have something that belongs to us? My throat tightened. This is my husband's property. Nothing here belongs to you. Robert smiled without warmth. Your husband wasn't as clean as you think. He was involved in deals, partnerships. He kept records, sensitive records. You've already seen them. David took a step forward, his eyes never leaving the laptop in my hand. Give us the drive. That's all we want. Hand it over and you'll never hear from us again. A lie. The certainty vibrated through me like a tuning fork. I steadied my voice. He left it to me. If it's so harmless, why are you here in the middle of the night breaking into a widow's home? Robert's smile faltered. Because time is running out. Too many eyes are turning toward us. Your husband should have destroyed everything. But he didn't. Now you're holding matches over a pile of dynamite. For a moment, the room was unbearably still, their words settling over me like a noose. I could feel Daniel's presence in every corner, his books, my painting, the rose, and suddenly I understood. This penthouse wasn't just a shrine. It was a battlefield he had built for me to inherit. I'm not giving you anything, I whispered. Robert sighed, gesturing to David. I told you she'd be stubborn. David moved, quick and certain, closing the space between us. My back hit the glass window pane. The city glittered beneath me, indifferent as I clutched the laptop like a shield. That was when my phone buzzed in my pocket. The screen lit up. Martin Lang calling. I fumbled the phone to my ear, my voice trembling. Mr. Lang. Evelyn. His voice was low, urgent. Are you at the penthouse? Before I could answer, Robert snatched the phone from my hand, pressing it to his ear. She's busy, Lang's voice sharpened. Robert Hale, I should have known. Leave her alone. Robert chuckled, tossing the phone onto the sofa. Your lawyer friend can't help you. This is bigger than paperwork, Mrs. Hart. Much bigger. My mind raced. Why had Lang called now, at this exact moment? Unless he knew they'd come. Daniel must have told him. David reached for the laptop. I tightened my grip, refusing to release it. He leaned close, his breath sour with impatience. You don't understand, Mrs. Hart. That drive contains evidence that could ruin lives. Powerful lives. People who don't hesitate the way we do. My stomach dropped. If this was them holding back, what would happen when their patience snapped? I heard Lang's muffled voice still on the line, tinny from the sofa cushions. Evelyn, listen carefully. Whatever they tell you, don't give them the drive. Daniel wanted it safe because it exposes all of them. Hale's partners, politicians. Everyone Robert's head whipped toward the sound. His jaw tightened. He talks too much. In that moment, I realized Daniel hadn't just been documenting crimes. He had built a weapon, one so devastating it could topple an entire circle of power. And now I, a grieving widow with shaking hands, was the only one standing between it and the men who wanted it buried. Robert extended his hand, calm but deadly. Last chance. Give it to me, or I'll take it. The phone on the sofa erupted again, Lang's voice shouting my name. And then came a new sound, knocking, sharp, official. From the front door. Police. Open up. Robert froze, his eyes narrowing. David swore under his breath. The pounding came again, louder this time. Mrs. Hart, this is the Metropolitan Police. We've received a call. Open the door, please. Robert's smile returned, but it was strained now. Your lawyer's fast. He must have called them. Relief rushed through me, but it tangled with fear. Police meant safety, didn't it? Yet Robert didn't look worried. If anything, he looked calculating. Go answer, he said softly, like a teacher coaxing a child. Smile. Let them in. We'll be gone before they ask a single question. I didn't move. The knock came again, more insistent. Mrs. Hart, if you don't open, we'll enter by force. Robert stepped back, adjusting his cufflinks with practiced ease. David lingered near the study door, his eyes locked on the laptop still clutched to my chest. I walked to the door slowly, every step an argument with my own fear. My hand hovered on the latch. If these were real officers, I was saved. If they weren't, I opened the door. 2 men in uniform stood there, badges gleaming, expressions stern. The taller one spoke first. Mrs. Hart? Yes. My voice cracked. We received a report of a disturbance. His eyes flicked past me, into the penthouse, where Robert and David stood perfectly composed. May we come in? Before I could answer, Robert was already nodding, charming smile in place. Of course, officers. Just a misunderstanding. Family business. We were leaving. The taller officer studied him, then me. Everything all right here, ma'am? I opened my mouth, but no words came. The laptop weighed heavy in my arms. The folder pressed sharp against my ribs. Daniel's voice from the video echoed in my head. Don't trust them. Not yet. And for the first time, I wondered, were these even real police? The taller officer's badge caught the light, but the numbers were blurred, almost smudged, as though deliberately obscured. My throat went dry. I asked you a question, ma'am, he repeated. Are you safe? Robert's voice slid over mine before I could respond. She's fine. Grieving. This has all been emotional. The officer's partner glanced at him, then back at me. His expression was neutral, too neutral, like someone trained to give nothing away. Daniel's warning rang louder. Don't trust them. I'd like to see your IDs, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. A flicker of surprise crossed the taller officer's face. He reached slowly into his jacket, producing a leather wallet. The badge inside gleamed again, clean, official, except for the same blurred numbers. My stomach clenched. Behind me, David shifted impatiently. This is a waste of time. Just hand it over. The officer's eyes narrowed. Hand what over? No one spoke. The silence swelled like a balloon ready to burst. Then, the phone on the sofa vibrated again, Lang's voice rising faintly through the cushions. Evelyn! Don't open that door! The shorter officer's gaze darted to the phone. In that split second, I knew. They weren't here for me. They were here for the drive. I backed up, clutching it tighter. You're not police, I whispered. The taller man's smile was thin, cold. Smart woman. Before he could move, I slammed the door with all my strength, the lock snapping back into place. Robert cursed, spinning toward me. David lunged forward. I bolted down the hall, clutching Daniel's secrets to my chest. Somewhere behind me, Robert shouted, "Get it from her, now!" The penthouse stretched long and open, but suddenly it felt like a maze designed to trap me. My bare feet slapped against the polished floor as I sprinted past the dining alcove, past the shelves lined with Daniel's books. Behind me, David's footsteps thundered closer. I ducked into the kitchen, yanking open a drawer until my fingers closed around a chef's knife. My reflection warped across the steel blade as I turned to face the hallway. David slowed, eyes flicking from the knife to the laptop clutched against me. "Don't make this worse," he said softly, like a man speaking to a cornered animal. "You can't fight us. You can't outrun us. Just give it to us." The knife shook in my grip, but I raised it higher. "Come closer and see." His mouth twitched, almost amused. But before he could step forward, a crash split the air. The great room windows shattered inward, raining glass across the floor. I screamed, stumbling back as a dark-clad figure repelled through the opening, landing in a crouch. Another followed, both in tactical gear, visors down, movements precise. David swore. Robert's voice carried from down the hall. "Get rid of them!" The newcomers moved fast, advancing with military certainty. One barked into a radio clipped to his vest. The other raised a weapon, non-lethal, a taser, and fired. David collapsed, convulsing. I pressed against the counter, shaking, knife still clutched. The visor nearest me lifted just enough for a pair of sharp brown eyes to meet mine. "Mrs. Hart? We're here for you. Martin Lang sent us. Come now." For a breathless second, I couldn't move. Then Daniel's words rang again. "If you open it, call Martin. He knows more than he ever told you." Somehow, Lang had known they'd come tonight. I dropped the knife, clutching the laptop, and ran toward the men who had shattered my husband's sanctuary. The tactical men guided me quickly, one hand steady on my arm, the other sweeping the room for threats. Shards of glass crunched underfoot as the city wind howled through the shattered windows. Robert shouted from the hall, his voice ragged with fury. "You can't hide her forever!" "That drive belongs to us." The taller rescuer snapped, "Move!" and shoved me toward the broken window. My stomach dropped. "What are you doing?" He clipped a harness around my waist in one smooth motion. "We're rappelling down. Safer than the elevator. Trust me." The other man fired another taser round, sending Robert sprawling as he tried to advance. David groaned from the floor, still twitching from the earlier strike. Before fear could stop me, I was being lowered into the open night, my body swaying against the glass skin of Glass Row Tower. The city roared below, 1,000 lights blazing while my hands clenched the laptop as if it were life itself. The descent was terrifying, but fast. Within moments, boots hit the concrete of the garage roof, and I was hustled toward a black SUV idling in the shadows. The back door opened. Martin Lang sat inside. His normally composed face was drawn, his tie loosened, eyes sharp with urgency. "Evelyn." Thank God I climbed in. Still shaking, laptop hugged to my chest. The SUV lurched forward before the door even shut, tires squealing as we sped out of the garage and into the night. For the first time since Daniel's funeral, I felt air fill my lungs fully. But Lang's expression told me relief was temporary. "They know," he said grimly, "and now they won't stop." I swallowed hard. "Who are they, Martin?" And what did Daniel get himself into? Lang's gaze met mine in the rearview mirror. "Not just Daniel, Evelyn. You too. Whether you want it or not, you're in the middle now." The SUV cut through midnight traffic, neon lights smearing across the windows like wet paint. I sat rigid, laptop pressed to my lap, heart still thrumming from the escape. Lang adjusted his glasses, his voice low but steady. "Daniel wasn't hiding money, Evelyn. He was hiding evidence." 3 years ago, he stumbled onto a financial network, offshore accounts, shell companies, laundering billions. At first, he thought it was corporate fraud. Then he realized politicians were tied in. Judges, energy executives, people who run entire countries in the shadows. I stared at him, words failing me. My Daniel, an engineer who read spy novels before bed, had been investigating something out of those very books. Lang went on. He brought it to me, piece by piece. Asked me to keep certain documents sealed, timed for release if anything happened to him. I didn't think he'd go this far, building a separate residence, recording videos, creating a digital war chest, but he knew someone had to carry it forward. His eyes flicked to me. He chose you. I shook my head violently. I'm not built for this. I'm a widow, a teacher. I don't even know what half the files mean. You don't have to, Lang said. You just have to keep them safe until we can place them in the right hands. That drive is a sword. Wield it carelessly, and it could collapse governments. Use it wisely, and it could cut out rot that's been spreading for decades. The weight of the laptop grew heavier against me. I wanted to fling it out the window, watch it vanish under the blur of headlights. But I saw Daniel's smile in my mind, heard his words. It could save you. Or destroy you. My voice broke. Why didn't he tell me? Why did he leave me in the dark? Lang's expression softened. Because he knew once you were in, there would be no way out. The SUV took a hard turn, tires screeching. I glanced back. Headlights followed, growing closer. They've found us, Lang muttered. The SUV roared through the city, Lang barking orders to the driver as the headlights gained ground behind us. My pulse hammered with every turn. They're not stopping, I whispered. No, Lang agreed grimly. They won't. Not until they have that drive. A sudden burst of gunfire shattered the rear window. I ducked, clutching the laptop tighter. The driver swerved hard, sparks flying as we scraped against a guardrail before lurching onto an industrial road along the waterfront. Out, Lang ordered. The SUV skidded to a halt. He yanked my door open and pulled me into the icy night air. The river below reflected the first streaks of dawn, pale and merciless. They'll be here in seconds, Lang said. Evelyn, listen to me. Daniel didn't choose you because you're a fighter. He chose you because you see things clearly. You know right from wrong when everyone else is blinded by greed or fear. I shook my head, trembling. I can't. You already are. His voice was steel. Now go. Across the dock, there's a safe house. I'll hold them. No. The word tore from me, raw and desperate. I won't leave you to... Headlights exploded across the dock as the pursuing SUV skidded into view. Figures spilled out, weapons raised. Robert among them, his face pale but twisted with triumph. Evelyn, he shouted, hand it over and no one else gets hurt. I clutched the laptop to my chest, Daniel's voice echoing in my mind. Save yourself, even if you have to burn everything else down. The laptop felt impossibly heavy, yet suddenly I knew what I had to do. I sprinted to the dock's edge, the water dark and endless below. Robert's scream tore the air. Don't you dare! I raised the laptop high. You want it? My voice cracked, but I forced strength into it. Come and drown with it. And before doubt could catch me, I hurled Daniel's secrets into the river. The splash was deafening. For a heartbeat, silence ruled. Then chaos erupted, Robert lunging toward the water, his men shouting, Lang dragging me back from the dock. Sirens wailed in the distance, red and blue lights bleeding across the dawn. I collapsed against Lang, sobbing, the weight of months finally crashing through me. You did it, he whispered fiercely. You chose. Just like Daniel knew you would, the rising sun split the horizon, casting fire across the water where the secret sank into shadow. The penthouse, the lies, the Mitchell brothers. All of it was gone. but I was still here. And for the first time since Daniel's death, I felt not like a widow clinging to the past, but like a woman stepping into the dangerous, uncertain light of her own future. Thank you for listening to Evelyn's story. If you were in her place, would you have thrown the laptop into the river or kept the secret safe? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe for more stories, and share this with someone who loves suspense as much as you do.